Hey, this is another episode of UFO Garage.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Joe, and this is where we talk about UFOs, aliens, and all things weird. Yeah. Yeah, little ham and eggs, dude.
Oh, little ham and eggs coming at you, dude.
That's right. That's right. Feeling good?
Hell yeah.
Throwing it down and then picking it back up again and putting it in your pocket for security. Yeah. Yeah. You know how that story goes, right? And then you get home and you take it out of your pocket and you put it on your dresser and it sits there for a year and collects dust.
Right. That's what happened to the last piece of cheese I found in my pocket. I was like,
dude,
man, I could have chowed down on that piece of cheese.
Nothing worse than old cheese in your pocket.
Nothing.
So it's actually a good thing you got it out, man. Pretty excited about tonight. We've got a pretty sweet show.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm excited. We got Darcy Weir and Jim Goodall, ladies and gentlemen.
In the house.
In the house.
Together.
We're going to be talking about secret space UFOs, rise of the TR3B. Damn.
Was that a android from Star Wars?
Yeah.
Is it? Well, I don't know. We're going to find out tonight, though.
We're going to find out.
Let's do it. Let's bring them in.
Hell yeah. Jim, Darcy, what's up, boys?
Hey. Y'all, what's up? I really like that intro. It's like Funk Brothers. Totally cool.
Yeah. It's a good time, you know?
Hey, these are the UFO garage guys. I mean,
yeah, damn. Oh, I like this garage.
It's a good place to be. It's a good place to be. You know,
is that a '64 Chevy?
Good little party.
Logo?
Yeah, that's a '64 Impala.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I recognize the grill.
Oh yeah, sexy. Yeah. It's a sexy little machine, man. That's what. That's if we all end up getting this technology to be able to like fly around in space and stuff. That's the first thing I want to retrofit it to is a '64 Impala. Let's seal it up and let's go cruise space in it. You know,
turn that into a Jetsons
like
car.
Cheech and Chong up in smoke. Huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Go hot box on the moon.
I'm down. It's you know, anything is possible at that point. If I have a flying car, anything's possible. Let's do it.
Yeah,
sweet.
Heck yeah, man.
Has anybody ever tried to turn the moon into a bong? Like, I mean, is that possible? I mean, technically,
too many holes.
You need a lot of thumbs, dude.
Yeah, plug the hole,
carbon all those holes, dude.
John Lear, doesn't John Lear think there's like swimming pools and stuff up there, Jim?
Yeah,
I've heard him say that.
Yeah,
he says that there's like people living up there with their swimming pools and backyards and junk like that. They probably got a couple hot boxes going.
Yeah. I know. You know, I've known John Lear almost 50 years. Jesus, I mean, I met him in '73. That's 50 years, isn't it?
So would you say? So would you say his a bit of his ufology rubbed off on you over the time?
Oh no, I think that one of the reasons we sort of clicked is because I'm as crazy as he is, and we both have a certain passion, you know, about things that fly, things that go bump in the night, and he has a real disdain for authority. Oh, so do I. Yeah, and I mean he photographed. I think it was Have Blue or one of the early MiGs when he actually drove down to the edge of the lake bed and took a shot across the lake. And he saw them coming. He took a whole bunch of pictures and he put those in his pocket, threw another roll in there and did a little bit of shooting when they came and said, we're going to have to take your film. Oh, can I have it back? I said, you know, it depends what's on there. So he gave him the stuff the good stuff he had in his pocket. So
smart man. Yeah. Always have a backup stash, right?
Yeah.
So just to give people some context, the Have Blue was pretty much the precursor to the F-117, right?
That was the technology demonstrator for the F-117, for Senior Prom, which was their F-117 looking cruise missile, and for Senior Ice, which was their B-2 competitor. It was a gigantic B2 is what it looked. I mean, a gigantic F-117.
Sweet.
That's
one,
half blue.
That's
half
one
blue.
sexy senior prom right there, man.
Yeah, look at that thing, man.
That is an awesome like code name, senior prom, dude. Ooh, this one's not so sexy.
So that's
though.
what they created before
the Tacit was built to track was built to sort of follow a lot of these planes, right?
Yeah. Well, no, the Tacit Blue was the first.
That's that square fronted one down a bit that you were like, oh, what the hell is this thing? Yeah.
Yeah. Where you have your little finger thing pointing. That's Tacit Blue. It was a technology demonstrator for blended surfaces, so they could predict the radar return on a blended surface. It was also an enlarged version of what was going to be a classified cruise missile. But what it would be exact same configuration, but upside down.
Huh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, it almost looks like a submarine.
Well, they call it Shamu. The guys that work there, and they just call it the bathtub.
The bathtub, yes.
That's cool.
Initially, one of the considerations for using Tacit Blue, if it was an operational airplane, it would have been big. It'd have been maybe a 767 size airplane.
Oh,
and
wow.
on the side slabs of the fuselage, they will be able to disrupt all electronic transmission into the battlefield.
Whoa.
Where we could block their radios, we can block all their telemetry and everything else, and then it would do a 180. It would go up and down along the forward edge of battle, and it would go back and forth. When it did the 180, it was a very, very large radar cross section, and then it become invisible again, and then come back again, and it was going to be used to disrupt all their air defenses, all their communications.
Wow. So I have to ask though, like that sounds like a pretty good idea. Would they go with instead?
It probably
a TR3B. Jim,
right.
tell us about the TR3B.
I see my Area 51 thing on your wall behind you, Joe.
Yeah, dude, it's right there, man.
Yeah, when do you come up with T-shirts? I need one. My other one's worn out.
We'll get you one.
Okay.
We want to make a cool design. I want to put your face on the side of it with your signature, Jim Goodall on the sleeve.
I'm really ruin it, but
and then throw it on the back.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You have to get a picture of Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul the alien.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
You're like, Paul who? What?
Like Paul Hynek? Oh,
We just figure whoever it is, Jim knows him and he'll send us a picture, right?
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk. Yeah. What?
I never thought about like this the cloaking technology with the angles. I mean, you guys get into this subject at towards middle / end of the documentary, where you're talking about like just the angles and how the stealth technology is like to disrupt radio signals. But Jim,
radar.
Yes, thank you. But Jim, you're saying that it was literally itself a weapon just flying around like messing things up.
The Tacit Blue, if it had become an operational program, it would have, it would disrupt your all your electronic emissions. Damn. And the thing about stealth, there are like 6 or 7 things that contribute to stealth. One of them is sound. An F-117 is noisy. A B-2 is noisy. Darcy makes that clear in the documentary, as where the TR3B and some of the other stuff they're dealing with makes no noise. The
hovers silently.
Yeah. And so you have visual, you have audible, you have radar cross section, you have infrared, you have electronic emissions. and there was one I think it's contrail.
Sonar?
No, they wouldn't be sonar because the sonar is only good
Underwater?
Underwater, yeah. Yeah. And the submarine that I was on, that took me 7.5 years to get on, the USS Connecticut, the one that hit the seamount here a month and a half ago now.
Uh-huh.
I've been all over the inside of that submarine. That's in one of my books.
Doing your
Whoa, that's
telemetry.
Yeah, no, I was there to do a photo shoot for my Virginia class Seawolf book, and it took me 7.5 years to get on the Connecticut, because you can only get on the Seawolf or the Connecticut. You can't get on the Jimmy Carter, and there's only 3 Seawolf class boats, but they have a 2-story torpedo room, and when they go on patrol, they're designed to take out the entire Soviet Northern Fleet.
Damn.
One submarine, yeah.
Oh, what?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the Cold War ended, so they, instead of having 27 of them, we have 3. And then they came out with Seawolf Light, which was the Virginia class. I've been on those too. I've been on all of them. I have really been. I saw the F-117 when it first came out. I saw the Blackbird before anybody, and civilians saw it. I've flew in the B-2 simulator. I've been to 400 feet deep in a ballistic missile submarine.
Jim, have they ever tried to make something like an airplane that can like start out underwater and then like fly up in the sky? Have they ever tried to work on anything like that?
Well, no, there's it's not an airplane, it's a drone. The Skunk Works came out with it. It's called Cormorant, yeah. And it would come out of the launch tube for an Ohio class
torpedo
missile.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about the missile tube.
Okay, so it just shot out the top, like where they would shoot a warhead.
It would go up slowly. It would go to the surface, and then once the sub is out of the way, then there's a booster, and it shoots it up in the air. It goes fast enough to start the engine.
Oh, that's cool.
It does its reconnaissance, and then it comes back in, and it lands in the water, and it sits there. It has a transponder, that's set up specifically for that particular submarine that launched it. And then maybe an hour later, they'll send up almost like an ROV with on a cable, hook onto it, and pull it back into the sub. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
All of these things are really cool on paper and in theory until they're launched and we're in World War III.
Yeah, and then they're a pain in the ass.
Those were in World War III? Jeez, man. What? I didn't know that. That's amazing.
What?
He's fucking with you. So, guys,
oh my god, I'm so dumb. I thought you said World War.
I'm saying if there was World War III,
God, I gotta
if Putin and China, if Russia and China really want to push the Americans, then we'll start to see some of Jim Goodall's toys launched and flying around for sure.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
I just in my head thought that was already a war. Like Jesus, the Mandela effect just happened.
One of the things that China, North Korea, Iran, and the Russians, I don't think we have to worry about the Russians. I think we are closer in ideology to the Russians than a lot of people believe.
Oh yeah, they're friends with Trump, right?
Well, no, they don't want war. They want prosperity in the former Soviet Union.
I'm just kidding.
I think you're. That's like. I kind of align with you, Jim. With I don't know much about politics, but it seems like we're on the same side of things. America. I mean, who am I to talk about politics or whatever? But
unfortunately, I put too much into politics. I backed off quite a bit over the years, so because it doesn't do me any good. It raises
got to be careful about the religion stuff too, man. Have you read some of those comments under Dolan's video? People were raging about the when you said, all these religions would fall apart if we announced ET's existence, and people, they're I'd say about 50% of the comments under Dolan's video are Mr. Jim Goodall is absolutely wrong. Buddha is not and like Christianity is this, and like it's crazy, man.
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
whoa.
Well,
We're gonna have some
it's just
pitchforks are
crazy
coming
because
in.
when you talk about this whole subject, I mean, that is something that has to be discussed. It's not like a taboo topic that we just can't touch. We're gonna have to cross that bridge at some point. Of
course, yeah.
So,
I agree with what he says, but there's a lot of folks that don't, and that is the religious folks. They're very protective of their institutional beliefs. They're theocracies.
That has been the belief of a lot of people in the aerospace and space industry and in the federal government, and even in legitimate circles for quite some time. It said, what if, when Moses parted the Red Sea, did he have some beam that would push the water out of the way, or maybe the aliens overhead? Same with Greek mythology. Look at Greek mythology, and you think about particular Greek gods.
Lightning bolts, Zeus.
Maybe he's flying an A-10.
He's got an arc reactor. He's got an arc reactor on his jet.
Yep.
Yeah. An A-10 Warthog. Brah.
Oh yeah,
that is a bolt of lightning, dude.
Yes.
When I was stationed at Lowry, they were just starting to. That's where the M61 Vulcan Cannon School was, and it was a C shift school, which means it started at 10 o'clock at night, and you could be downtown Denver, 13, 14 miles away from the base, and all of a sudden you hear, what the hell was that? Oh, that was 100 rounds of 20 millimeter.
Zeus.
Like 2 seconds. Yeah.
That was Zeus, man.
I mean, it would be. Or a laser.
Like, have you guys ever seen the original David Spader version of Stargate?
One of my favorite movies.
Yes. It's so good. It's so good, right? But remember that really cool scene when they're like trying to fight, like there's an uprising of the miners, the like villagers against the raw occupants and stuff, and that really funny looking guy that looks kind of like a Neanderthal starts just trying to run from a massive amount of explosions and gunfire over top.
That dude's awesome.
Yeah. I'd say that guy thought Zeus was throwing lightning at him. No?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But, most of Greek mythology is based on UFO sightings.
I know, it sounds like it. Like
hate to bust anybody's bubble, but he didn't make it.
No, wait! Spoiler alert!
Oh shit!
Hey,
all right.
If you haven't seen it by now, it's too bad, man.
Yeah, I mean that movie's been out for a while.
Great scene, kind of funny, kind of sad, altogether great.
Yes. Yeah, we just read. What was it? Tuesday. We read the introduction to physics, the Air Force little document that they had. That was pretty wild,
Yeah.
That was pretty nuts. Talking about the people that came from the sky and separated into 2 tribes, and then one of them sent these things from the city, and it rode on lines of light and exploded, and everything was like everybody would die that would go into the city, and it burned everybody for miles. Like, this is wild, man.
It sounds like a nuclear detonation, right? Oh, and I probably pronounced that wrong, but
nuclear. Dude, well, I mean, we look back at like these giant stones that are like melted. I mean, what else melts stone?
Nuclear detonations.
Yeah, makes glass on the ground and stuff. Like, that's just wild.
Yeah, it's like stuff from the Vedas, like the Indian religious texts. They talked about all these battles that were happening that were technically like these atomic warfare weapons, and cities were being like leveled and stuff. So who knows? I think it's lost history, really. We're all suffering from amnesia.
Yeah, it's such a bummer. How much cool shit has gotten destroyed over like thousands of years? Like, it's such a bummer. You never think about it, It's almost like maybe hoarders are like heroes of society, and we don't treat them right. Like, we need people to be hanging on to this stuff.
They needed to hoard like tablets of like scriptures, not just like newspapers and puzzle games they bought.
I totally agree. You know, when somebody has an issue, sometimes they just need to be redirected into like their place, you know, like they're just lost. But like, it's like, hey, I'm totally cool with you hoarding, but like, let's go on adventures and find like ancient tablets and shit. And like, let's hoard that instead. And they're like, okay, I guess that's all right.
Like,
Get rid of these yeah.
No, I only like
cheeseburger
newspapers.
wrappers.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Don't throw out that chocolate bar wrapper.
Yeah. Let's go
So-
get something of value. We're sitting on 40 pounds of dog shit right now. Let's get out of here.
Oh my God.
Whoa, did we just lose Jim completely?
He said he'll be right back. Oh, here
Okay,
it
he'll
is.
be back.
I
There
took
he
him
is.
out. That was my.
Oh, okay.
So question for you guys.
Yep.
If so, in the documentary, YB-49, the Delta-shaped plane, codenamed the Giant Boomerang, massive like first boomerang-shaped plane. What I mean, we're talking about like history and things being lost and technology getting to a point and then society collapse. Like, what if society just collapsed right after that boomerang? And then there's all this written documentation of seeing this giant boomerang figure. Like, somebody in the future, after society builds itself back up and sees, I don't know, maybe even a photo or a drawing or written description of this YB-49, could that not just be like what we're seeing in like Egyptian hieroglyphs? Like when you see those images of like a helicopter, and there's like one of a plane, and there's one of the Banshee from Halo, and like, could that just not be a historical record of like, yeah, society took a little step backwards after this was made?
Hey, if we don't watch out, we're going to be heading for that same disaster.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like, okay, all these ancient structures, huge monolithic granite blocks that show signs of melting, which like has to be of a crazy degree. I mean, that only shows, to me, it's either one, right? Like some people fall in the category of, oh, it was aliens that did it. But what if it was us? Like maybe we were that smart. Like maybe the timeline.
Graham
Hancock, yeah.
He has the theory that we are suffering as a like society from cultural or historical amnesia, because it's possible that we as a planet go through these cataclysmic events on a regular cycle, right? And people talk about possible cataclysmic events that are triggered by maybe a planetoid that comes into our solar system every certain 1,000 years. You know, Zachariah Stitchin wrote the
12th planet.
12th planet, yeah. I was like going to say 9, 10, 11, 12. But 12th planet, you know, and that's some people say Nibiru, whatever, Planet X, but it's like, it might not even be that. It might just be like every certain amount of years, there's a shift in the poles, and the ice caps melt and the whole planet goes off its wobble or something like that. We're seeing the ice caps right now melting en masse, right? So
well, it depends where you're at, because they're saying that the summer ice in Antarctica is thicker and more profound than it has been in past years.
Oh,
and according to Al Gore, there should be absolutely no ice in the North Pole and the polar regions at all, because global warming.
Yeah, but I think he's saying that will take like 100 years or something.
He
not
doesn't
like
have a clue. And the Earth goes through a cycle.
Gore.
The Earth goes through a cycle about every 12,000 years. The poles shift, and you do have a major die-off of migrating animals. Yeah. And at one time, it was about 200,000 years ago, the humanoid population of the world, so it was some type of worldwide pandemic. It was probably COVID, but COVID 1 instead of 19.
That's what happened to the Mayans.
Oh shit!
Probably.
Basically, though, it was famine, wasn't it?
No, it was. They had no immunity 2 Western diseases. And it could have been smallpox that killed him too. I mean, that was really rampant during those years.
Yep.
I just
Spanish blankets.
What was that? Who was talking about that? How like they went back and they found all those cities in the jungle. How like that the jungle isn't actually supposed to be there. They're all like cultivated plants.
What?
Well,
That like when the Spaniards arrived and they said that they found these cities of gold and all this stuff, and there was all these people living there.
El
They were like,
Dorado.
yeah, they were like, oh, that's cool. And they went back to go tell everybody, and by the time the next wave of people came, that everybody was dead because of the disease and stuff that they brought over.
Yeah. That's how they down in Mexico. That's how they think the Mayans died off, because they had the Spanish come first. Like, cool, nice to meet you, and then they left, and everybody died from like whatever, a common cold or something.
Yeah, it could have been a common cold.
Yeah, it could have been a common cold, and then there you go.
And that's how the legend started, right? Everybody was gone. The jungle grew in, and they were like, there wasn't anything there. I don't know what they're talking about. It's just very dangerous, and there's a lot of snakes.
Something tells me this movie is not about the death and famine of the Mayans, but
it's a little more lighthearted.
Surprisingly accurate, though. Surprisingly accurate.
Some cute jokes.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So with you guys, this documentary was great, man. Like, I had a great time watching it. Secret Space UFOs, Rise of the TR3B. For those who may not know about this TR3B, give us a little background, a little historical context to this TR3B and why it's so significant.
Sure. Okay. Let me give you guys something a bit different than what I've been telling other podcasts and radio shows and stuff. So, I'll talk about the sort of engine, the part that made it more weightless or have this anti-gravitic effect was this mercury-based plasma pressurized to 250,000 atmospheres, supercooled to 150 Kelvin, rotating at 50,000 RPM, mercury-based, like basically rotating superconductor. And I know that sounds like ridiculous. It's some scientific babble to most people.
So it's kind of it's kind of like a V8 then, is what you're saying.
There you go. It's a V8 piston engine. You can achieve anti-gravity with that. So
that's sick.
Basically, but it was called an MFD, so it was like a magnetic field disruptor, and apparently the craft is not like, it's supposed to be a transport craft. It's supposed to be a space dock. So if you're thinking about the ISS, that's like a space station.
Right.
This thing was supposed to be like a giant triangular sort of like space city that just, you can go down, you can pick up stuff from the ground, and then you can take it right up to space, and you can, it has all these different quarters and stuff, and apparently it could hold up to like 300 personnel, and and it could carry really heavy equipment like tanks and stuff. But this magnetic field disruptor engine only helped it achieve like 80% of weightlessness. So on each corner of the craft, it apparently had to assist it with some thrust and directional, navigation, were these hydrogen-based thrusters. So it used a combination apparently of this technology. And if people hear this being spoken of, like this MFD, magnetic field disruptor based off of a mercury plasma super rotating superconductor thing, they often think of the Nazi bell. And the Nazi bell, apparently that experiment that during the 1940s, the Nazis were trying to get that weightlessness, to try and get that anti-gravitic force to work for their craft. and they had this thing sort of chained to a cement barrier, and they were using a mercury-based plasma rotating superconductor to get that thrust. So some people will say, oh, well, the TR3B is probably just our advancement since post-World War II, with Project Paperclip and all the Nazis coming over to the United States, and they, all the high-value assets in Project Paperclip, like Wernher von Braun and other mega-brain scientists like him, were being brought over to work for the military-industrial complex and help advance the military's, defense programs. And that's where we get stories of, at that point in history, kind of like this breakaway civilization happening, where you've got the military industrial complex becoming so powerful and so well funded by public dollars, and there's all kinds of evidence that there's accounting practices that the military can carry out, and I documented that at the beginning of my documentary, The Underground. RT News did a really cool expose on this accounting practice. They literally, in the military, if they want to account for some, like, let's say they say we had $40 million, what do we want to say we spent that on? They could say, oh, we spent it on loaves of bread, and they just write that off in their accounting. If you or I or some basic civilian business tried to do the same accounting practice, we'd be thrown into jail and the key would be thrown away, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the military can get away with this because it is for the defense of the country. So that is the justification of these highly black projects where, money from the public taxpayers can be spent in black ways. And I think the TR3B, you mentioned at the starting of the show the YB-49. It goes from the YB-49 to the B-2 bomber for that sort of like shape and size, but then you've got like smaller airframes like the F-117 or the Have Blue, and we kept going into these sort of like black sort of triangle direction with our advancements in aerospace technology and our stealth technology. The story is with the TR3B is that that might have had its maiden flight in late 1979 and was operational maybe in the mid to late 80s, early 90s, and we've got Edgar Fouche coming out in the late 90s. Actually, it was 1998 that he did that first conference. I was saying early 90s by mistake the other day. But it all, and you get the Belgian wave that happens in the late 80s, the early 90s. Some people say that was probably alien tech. Others may think that it was, top secret military technology that was spooking out the Belgians. So I don't know. I don't know if the TR3B is a real thing, but I think there's so much lore around the craft, and there's so much discussion that's happened about black budget spacecraft activities that have been happening. It makes sense that's what's going on with some of these UFO sightings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest parts, right? I mean we've done a pretty good job at trying to be, like aware of things that are around us now with all the apps and stuff. You can track airplanes and satellites. You can't track everything, but you can. And so like now it's kind of, this is not like the next big step is like, okay, if this TR3B does exist and they've got the continuum transfunctioner engine inside of it, and are we to believe that there are not other things that we have that are different than this triangle? And if that's the case, the next important mission should be trying to nail down like what are these spooky objects flying in the night, like it's time to like start trying to nail those down, like identifying what is ours. That way we can get back to seeing what isn't ours, because now it just makes it even more confusing for everybody.
I mean, people even bring up you know, that Navy ship swarm video, you know, where you can see these triangular, or other people called them pyramid shaped.
Yeah.
And a lot of debunkers or like skeptics on that video will say, oh, well, that's just our black budget technology that's spoofing the Navy ships. I don't think they would really want to run an exercise like that. That's what my logic tells me. But, you know, if history repeats itself, like if we look at our technology in the United States or Canada or the UK, it's pretty much the same in China and Russia, right? I mean, the world, once a certain type of breakthrough technology is made, it's bound to propagate and be copied by other nations. Yeah. So if you're thinking about the YB-49 being created and the B-2 bomber and the F-117, do you really think, with Russia's billions and billions and billions of dollars that they spend every year on their military industrial complex projects, that they haven't been creating possible near weightless or anti-gravitic vehicles that look like triangles too? I mean, that is what we do. When we see somebody else throw a rock and knock somebody out, we go, oh, that's a good idea. Next time somebody screws with us, we pick up a rock and throw it at their head. You know, we copy each other. So it just makes perfect sense that maybe some of these UFO videos are adversaries, triangular craft spooking our Navy and such.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Years ago, I asked Ben Rich, who at the time was president of Lockheed Skunk Works, why does the MiG-29 look like the F-15? Why does the Su-27 sort of look like the F-14? And he said the laws of aerodynamics and the laws of physics are the same whether you read it in English, Greek, Chinese, or Russian. 2 + 2, unless you go to California schools, 2 + 2 = 4. I mean,
California schools.
Well, they're talking about they're talking about getting rid of grades. They're not going to.
Hey, I'm all for that. They're not going
to administer the ACT or SAT testing anymore.
I would have passed all the time, dude.
Yeah,
dude.
Shit.
If you're in grade 1 and you take a poop downtown San Francisco, you get an A+.
A+.
That's right.
Yeah. An A+.
I would have been a straight A student, man. Shit.
Yeah. So, and the other thing is, when we built the first nuclear weapon, it was detonated at Trinity Place in New Mexico. Yeah, shortly, and we were very, very concerned. We were hoping that the Russians were going to develop their nuclear weapon, which they did in fairly short order. When you've been trying to do something and you've been hitting a roadblock and everywhere you go, but all of a sudden your neighbor or your adversary or someone that you're really envious of pulls it off, then you know it can be done. So you refocus your energy on areas that you weren't quite sure up to speed on.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the breakthroughs come through, because we detonated the first hydrogen bomb. My cousin Joe was on a ship to observe it.
Whoa.
Oh, how did he feel after that?
He said that was the spookiest, most frightening thing he's ever encountered in his life.
I bet.
I know that water insulates nuclear energy. That's why they dip spent fuel rods and stuff in water. But when you detonate a bomb, how's that water feel when it splashes you?
I mean, first of all, if you're close enough to get splashed, you're dead.
Yeah. Nestle.
Yeah. No, I mean, so any time that we have a breakthrough, and we're usually the first ones on the block, but not necessarily. the Soviets put the first Sputnik up in September 57. And we were sitting there with our finger up our butt trying to figure out, why is this Vanguard keeps crashing, or this Jupiter C goes up and comes, crashes down. Once you see that the other guy has mastered or has overcome the problems that you're currently experiencing, that's when you know that the problem is solvable.
Yeah.
Up to that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Jim.
Up to that point, you're still shooting in the dark. You don't know if the direction you're heading is just the right direction. But when someone comes up and does it, then you say, okay, if those bastards can do it, I know our bastards can do it. And off you go.
That leads me to believe that there has to be some connection between our physical manifestation and what we believe that we can do with there's a connection with consciousness. I mean, we see the same things with the Olympics. I mean, the highest was it long jumping or was it high jump? It was like a high jumper. And for the longest time in the Olympics, it stayed around the same. If anybody knows this, like the specifics of the story, please butt in. But for the longest time, the maximum high jump had to be anywhere in between these 2 inches. It was like some insane amount already. But somewhere in like the 60s, some dude came in and just wrecked all of those goals and those records. And then from there, everybody else, that was the new bar. So you had to be better than that. So
sounds like they just had taller people enter the Olympics.
Well,
bunch of shorties before that.
It could be. There could be a lot of different things, but I feel like there has to be some connection between like, hey, somebody did it, I can do it too.
Yeah, I mean what that does, that removes there's a barrier there in your mind. You may not know it's there when you say, well, I know it can't be done, but I'm going to keep trying it, and you're getting discouraged. And then someone down the street does it. Well, hell, if he can do it, I know I can. And that's when you jump in. And someone just asked me a question when I thought about the F-15 EX. I think it's great. The F-15 Eagle is it's been around forever, 50 years.
Yeah.
And it will be a fourth generation top line. And if they start, I think the Air Force is going to buy 150 Silent Eagles, which are they're stealthized F-15s. They still have a radar cross section, but not, instead of a size of a barn door, it's size of a bathroom door. So,
dang,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Sweet.
The only thing I knew about the F-15 is that it's in Top Gun.
No, that was 14.
Oh, 14. Damn it. Well, I didn't.
Same generation.
Okay.
But the F-15 started out a fairly light airplane. It was like 32,000 pounds, 35,000 pounds, and then came out with the F-15E, which is their bomb truck, and that was now 105,000 pound maximum gross takeoff weight. I mean, so they more than doubled the weight of the airplane over the course of its gestation from the first flight in I think the first flight was in 72.
Jim, and what's the Raptor? What is that? Is that
that's the F-22.
F-22. Okay, I've got a buddy who flies those, and
they've adapted stealth technology to those, haven't they?
Dude, he won't tell me. I keep asking him, and he won't tell me the specifics.
Like the surfaces on them have completely changed from the first Raptors. Like if you look at I show the newest incarnation of the F-22 in the dock. There's a clip of that, and it looks very stealthy. It's like it has those like sort of triangular edges. It has those, instead of it being a more round fuselage.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Jim?
Well, they cantered anywhere you have a sharp edge or a crease. That's a place for a radar return. When they were doing initial radar cross section testing, or RCS, on the F-117, they put it up in a pole at Hellendale or out in the Ratster facility at White Sands Missile Range. they can do a lot of classified stuff there at night because you can't. There's no way to get there, get close to it, because you're out in in the White Sands Proving Ground. But they had the F-117 up on the pole, and they were, it's all the lights are off, so no one can see what's up there. The thing is painted black, and all of a sudden they get everything is going off scale. So they turned the lights on, or one of the lights, and there was a tiny sparrow sitting on the top of the nose, the peak of the F-117. And that was a big enough radar cross section to throw everything off the scale.
No way.
And then they were flying the F-117, and it was flying in the radar range. And they had the SBS-13 RCS antenna at the north end of Area 51 complex, but the south end of the base. It's a 25 meter built by Hughes, but it is used for RCS testing. And they were flying 117s through it and everything else, and everything was coming out. This is looking good. They had another one come through it, same group of F-17,
same design.
Yeah, I mean, they had the 4 YF 117s, and all of a sudden another one went through, and everything it almost blew everything off the scale, and they couldn't figure out what the hell's wrong with it. They realized that a couple of the screws in the panels weren't all the way in, and the edge was showing.
Crazy. That's how sensitive radar technology is.
Hey, they had they would in Saudi Arabia during the beginning of Desert Storm, they were finding knocked out, unconscious, and dead bats in the F-117 hangars, because the things are flying. They sent their beep out. Nothing's coming back. Boom!
Oh, and they would just hit the plane. The bats would hit the plane because their radar couldn't even pick up the plane. Yeah. That's dope. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Hey, Jim, I got a question for you real quick. Sorry, guys. So if we're talking about out in the desert and hard to get to the proving grounds, the White Sands, whatever. I've always wondered this because I know that the S4 area of the desert was where they did massive amounts of nuclear bomb tests. So is it super, super dangerous around there even today to walk around? Like if you tried to, be a sneaky, hiker and try
sneaky
to
boy.
get...
You want to pull a Jim. You want to pull a Jim Goodall, in other words. Yeah.
Trying to get to S4 by hiking and staying out of sight. What if you walked over this old nuclear blast site?
I've been in the middle of Frenchman Flats. I've been in the middle of Yucca Flats. I've been on the edge of the Sedan crater. The only place that is the only known contamination in the Nevada test site area is northwest of Area 51. And it was a plutonium contamination site. They had the then crashed XP-90, pretty airplane. They contaminated that to practice decontaminating an airframe. And but that they've since, now this is back 60 years ago when they did this. And that's the only known area, and it's the only area that's marked within the Nevada test site and in and around Area 51 or Papoose Lake that's still hot. They've remediated, everything else.
Wow.
So, I mean, there may be some residual if you dig down in the dirt. But for all intents and purposes, and one of the reasons Area 51 got the name Area 51 is they had a fallout grid for northwestern Arizona, from around Death Valley, and then northeast encompassing southern Nevada, a lot of Utah, even into Colorado, and some into northern New Mexico. And they had monitors in every one of those grids. I think there were 201 or 202 grids or areas. And the one just to the west of Area 51 is Area 50. And the one to the east of Area 51 is Area 52. So you say Area 51 and it has all of a sudden, people's eyes light up. It's a number of a place on a map, but it is over the decades has a certain connotation of UFO type stuff.
So it's rooted in this nuclear fallout that you're talking about. Is like because of the testing.
Well, no, there's a concern that if you wandered through the desert, would you be irradiated by maybe walking through a place where they had dispersed plutonium? They have all those areas marked off, and they're fenced off within the confines of the restricted area. Those things are boarded off, and I think they have monitors around them to tell if anybody's why would anybody want to go play with the plutonium? I have no idea.
So some of that government funding's gone towards some fences.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fence, man. It's a lot of barbed wire, man.
There's a lot of there's a lot of stigma surrounding Area 51, right?
And
it's just an area, and it's named 51, and for obvious reasons, it's got this stigma. Are there any other areas that you think might be cooler?
Well, northeast, right? The northeast corner of Nevada now.
The extreme north. Yeah, there's. I was told a classmate of my son James was a KC-135 pilot. He asked my son. He said, "Hey, does your dad still go out in and around Area 51 to snoop on the government?" And my son says, "Yeah, every chance he gets." He says, "Well, you should tell him there's a new place to go that's even spookier." Ooh. And it's near the Pacific Northwest, but it's not in it. And the Pacific Northwest comprises of the state of Washington, Oregon, and northern Idaho. But John Lear said he had some friends that were working on a program that was going operational, and they had to relocate, and they moved to Twin Falls, Idaho. And they say they have a 90-minute drive each way to go to work.
Whoa!
They're going to Sasquatch country there.
I figure that's 100 miles. I figure that's 100 miles.
Yeah.
So I got a compass on a map and zzz,
do you guys think?
Twin Falls.
Do you think Bigfoot probably gives like the best piggyback rides? Right, like they're probably so fast and so comfortable.
Young children only. Yeah.
Hey, my brother, we're not close, but my brother has been called Squatch or Sasquatch his whole life.
Ouch. Maybe that's why you guys aren't that close. I don't know.
Ted was 6. He's short and he's shrunk a lot now, but he was 6'5", but he wore a size 17 or 18 triple or quadruple E shoe. I put on his tennis shoes.
Bigfoot size for sure.
And I was wearing a pair of wingtips, size 12 wingtips, and I slipped right onto his shoes. And we're walking into the office. I was working for Xerox at the time, and I thought the secretary was going to wet her pants laughing so hard. You see these clown shoes on me. But they were actually my brother's shoes.
Was your brother walking around Northern California in 1967?
They were living in the Bay Area during that time frame. They hadn't moved to the Pacific Northwest yet.
Oh my God, we've cracked the case.
We got it.
Yeah. So yeah, we've always called him Squatch. For short for Sasquatch. So
that is awesome.
He's sassy too.
He is an exact 180 degrees from me in personality and drive and interest.
So he never stole a train.
He doesn't indulge in marijuana.
No, only me. No, and I had with Alan Holmes and Rusty Brown and one other kid.
That's Rusty Brown, man.
Today you'd have been executed if they had caught me.
Oh yeah, if you steal a train, you're like gone. You're not a president anymore.
We borrowed a train and we relocated it.
Exactly, you borrowed it.
We just moved it out of the way.
Yeah, it was on a siding and it was in the way, and And for those who don't know, when I was about 11, which was a long time ago, myself and three of my buddies found a train on a sighting in Mountain View, California, which is now Silicon Valley. And the cab wasn't locked. And back then, they didn't lock all the switches. So we went for a joyride in a...
Picture this song in the background. Some people born silver spoon in hand. That one.
Yeah. I mean, we went through 5-mile-an-hour zones at 70, blasting the horn.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
And
love that story.
I'm so glad that story is being told now on the internet. I love it.
They didn't find it for about 3.5 weeks. And the only reason I know they found it, some kid in class, I heard him talking at lunch, said, yeah, my dad worked for Southern Pacific. And I said, they misplaced a train. I couldn't figure out where in the heck it went. They were looking all over, throughout the entire route, of the Southern Pacific. And they found it on some sighting in San Jose. We don't know how the hell it got there, but everything was still there. Everything was okay.
You just borrowed it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sweet.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, Joe. You go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, just getting back to this TR3B. One of the things that I found pretty fascinating about this was that there's documentation of a TR3A.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
Yeah, in Popular Mechanics.
What?
Apparently there's like design, like plans and schematics showing that they were building it at Northrop Grumman.
Right.
But that would have been running on just jet fuel, and supposedly that had Gulf War airtime. So it was helping in laser targeting for smart missile. Yeah, that's what it looked like. The black Manta is the evolution of this craft. So apparently that was our first full-on triangle.
That looks
triangle.
Amazing, dude.
Yeah.
It's like a cool, like I want a guitar pick that looks like that,
Yeah. Well, in the documentary, there a gentleman's talking about he's taking a really amazing. Guys, if y'all haven't seen this documentary, there's like some amazing videos, dude. And one of the guys is like taking this photo, like this video of a triangular craft, and he's saying it looks like I think he's an Australian guy. He's like
British guy. Yeah, that was
British
in
guy.
England. Yeah, he said it was a black Manta.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think Tyler's like, and the gentleman's called it a black manta ray. I really butchered his accent there. Yeah, totally.
That was terrible.
I'm Canadian. I can't do these American accents.
I mean, that was actually pretty good. Pretty good.
He's good. He's good for sure.
But yeah. So like the amount of video. I mean, just highlighting the doc, dude. Like the videos and the photos. Those are I've never seen any of. Well, maybe two I've seen before these videos, but some of them I've never seen of these triangles.
Yeah.
The coolest one is that I can't recall her name, but
Alara.
She
has her own channel.
Awesome.
She has her own channel on YouTube. If people want to check her out, Alara Foot N5D. So you can Google that. But yeah, Alara Foot N5D. She's awesome. She does, her whole channel is just doing doing sort of space news and relating that to what's going on with UFOs. But go Jim. Sorry I cut you off, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so amazing when she's just looking at the lights, but there's nothing there.
Yeah.
But then she downloads it or puts it on her computer, and all of a sudden, I mean, maybe it's a tenth of a shade different in color gray, but there it is. I mean, there's no
a triangle with
that.
three sort of notable lights on each corner and a light in the middle.
Yes.
And people always say, like, if you're making a stealth craft, why would you put lights under your craft? And it's like, dude, she couldn't see it with her own naked eye. Yeah. So it was pulling off stealth. But the whole idea is that our cameras, our cell phones have such advanced camera optics these days that we're starting to pick up stuff that's in the sky that we can't even see with our own eye. And supposedly they can cloak out of the human eye visual spectrum, and that's the lore of these things.
I'll say this: I have the new iPhone, and it sucks at night, bro. It sucks.
It does.
Terrible.
Well,
sorry,
you got to
Jim.
get Alara's phone. I don't know what it is. But
yeah. You got okay. So you probably have better night vision, Jim. Sorry to cut you off, Jim. What were you going to say, bro?
I just got it. My sweet wife lost hers, and my screen was so shattered that I couldn't see half the numbers when I'm or letters when I'm trying to text. So I was forced to get a new one. So we both got iPhone 13s, but they're not the super duper pro version.
Well,
I don't need that. I got too many dollars wrapped up in Nikon. So
there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
another lens.
Great phone, but just it's terrible at night. It's not very good. But back to
videos. Yeah.
Yes, dude. So that led me to think like what caught my eye. I mean, dude, I'm like watching it enthralled. First off, just some footage I've never seen, and then what most people don't get in these videos of triangles, maybe there's objects in a triangular formation that are moving at the same pattern and the same rate. And you're like, okay, that could just be 3 things in a formation, but this particular one had a light in the middle. So that goes back to this. I had a question earlier, and I'm saving it up kind of this analogy to what we were talking about with this spinning centrifuge,
the super ferrofluid engine.
So I think of what popped into my head was like a hot air balloon. Okay, so that keeps you up. That in more technical terms, I guess, would be like it would negate gravity up to 80%. You say, and you guys have figured out that math. And then there's these extra boosters that kind of move the craft. So you have a balloon with some like, like that move and like trajectory. So but you're not saying that that's every triangle craft, right? We've seen we've heard stories. We've talked to people that have seen triangular craft that. Or craft that go very fast, but it does seem like a very consistent story. Anybody who's dealt with a triangular craft, it's a creeper. It's a slow moving guy.
Yeah. So I think like there's a couple things to unpack there. So first thing is like in this doc, Tyler reached out to his community and said, "Hey, my friend's like making this documentary. Submit your videos to him. He wants to check them out and see if you've got any good TR3B footage." So I got bombarded with all these emails and I was sifting through and watching all of them, and the majority of those videos came from 2019 to 2021. So that just puts into perspective for you that the triangular craft phenomenon, these sort of silent hovering or drifting through the sky objects that are in this triangular formation or a possible cloaked UFO like a TR3B are common. They're a common sighting in American skies. So that's amazing. Just that fact right there, that you can collect that much footage. If somebody started a YouTube channel that just was called TR3B Hotline, submit me your triangular videos, I'm sure it would have hundreds over a few years,
You know what your next project is.
Yeah,
there we go.
You just came up with your next
TR3B Hotline. Catch me on YouTube. But what I'm saying is like that's a big deal to me. And then the other thing that you were kind of mentioning there, Ben, I think it's really possible that we have, at this point in history, so many different shapes and sizes of triangles that can cloak themselves. Because if you believe the tale of the TR3B, this was active in the late 70s, early, the 80s to the 90s.
Terry Lovelace's story starts in 1977, by the way. He had.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, but that would have been an alien triangle. And I also don't discount that. I mean, Edgar Fouche's statement would be all of the triangle sightings are American craft, but there's been triangular craft sightings that predate even World War II. So so that's the thing. I think there's when you look at the sky, you could be seeing ours, you could be seeing theirs, but triangle is, I think, in most cases these days, they're probably ours.
When we're talking about the specs of the TR3B, like the size of it and everything, I don't know if we know for sure, but like in Terry Lovelace's case, right? It was like
huge.
It was a 2-story Walmart sized craft. I mean, is TR3B in that size range?
Yeah,
or is it a little smaller?
It's supposed to be massive, right? It's supposed to be like a star dock. It's supposed to be like
it's a battle cruiser.
It's a battle cruiser for space. Well, apparently it wasn't like a fighter. It was meant to do space. It wasn't like Star Wars. It was meant to like, if you wanted to take a whole huge crew load to the moon, it was like a transportation, like flying city. Apparently it could carry huge amounts of equipment and personnel. Yeah, it was a big UFO Uber, but I mean, it
didn't get that at first. Okay, yeah.
Maybe it had UFO. If you believe that this is possible, maybe it was carrying fighters inside of it. You never know. Yeah,
that's wild. One of the coolest things is like whenever I was looking at the videos, like you're seeing it pass through, but like you can see stars through it. Like it's projecting what's on top of it on the bottom. So you just can't see it. It looks wild.
The Air Force has been experimenting with active camouflage for a long time. I mean, it goes back to the 50s, but with today's thin film technology, where you have things that are, video screens that are flexible, you can almost paint it on. Yeah. And where you have sensors on top of the airplane, which project what's above it on the bottom, and vice versa. You have things on the bottom looking down and projecting it on the top of the airplane. So if someone's above it looking down, he's seeing, if it's green,
the ground,
grass or trees. Yeah. There's gonna be distortion because there's a lag as it's morphing through the countryside.
Yeah.
From the bottom you wouldn't have that problem. And that's not new technology. That's been around for they've been playing with it for a long time. Whether they perfected it, I have no idea. But I think a good guess would be yes.
I would say so too.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about it yet, but I have to mention my friend Ben Rich. And those of you who don't know who Ben Rich is, he was Kelly Johnson. He was Kelly Johnson's right-hand person from the time he formed the Skunk Works in 1943 and until he retired. He retired in, I think, 75 or 76, and Ben took over, and Ben was the president and general manager of the Lockheed Skunk Works through, I think he retired January of 91. But in 93 at UCLA, he was a keynote speaker at a group of postgraduate engineering aeronautical students. And in his presentation, he tells this group, and it's taped. I think you can look it up on YouTube or whatever. He said, we have the means to take ET home. Now think of that statement. This is from the head of the most advanced aeronautical design spooky group on the planet. No, there's no equals to the Lockheed Skunk Works, especially during the reign of Kelly Johnson and Ben Rich. Right. It's changed now because of bureaucrats and security and crap like that. But he tells them we have the ability to take ET home, which means he's saying that we have the capability today to go across the universe in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
You know what? I love that quote, Jim. I want to pose this question to anybody, but like, what if he meant that we have the technology to take ET home, not in a sense of like distance and travel and light years, but that we have figured out maybe they figured out something that's beyond propulsion systems that can travel dimensions. Maybe ET lives in a different dimension.
Yeah.
Stargates.
Yeah.
Yes.
It all comes back to Stargate, right, boys?
The one with
David
Spader, James Spader. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But just before he passed away, now I had Ben and I were sort of pen pals. We talked on the phone. We didn't necessarily write letters, but for 25 years we spoke quarterly, and that's pretty amazing. I'm a guy who just likes his airplanes. I have no influence. I was an enlisted person in the Air Force and the Air Guard. I'm
enlisted puke.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of everything that's coming out of Skunk Works. But we were talking, he was at USC Medical Center. He was dying from esophageal cancer, being around the solvents used in, now that's not Ben Rich. That's Jeff Babbion. He's the president, vice president, general manager. And that's the book. I had a book signing there at the Skunk Works. And there's a shot of me. You can go ahead and click it. No, there I'm autographing books. This is Paul W. Tibbets, the fourth. That was General Tibbets.
Who's that young guy back there?
Yeah.
Look at this lady killer right here. Damn, son.
That's when I had dark. That's when I had dark hair, but it was from the bottle. And
did you use Just for Men on your eyebrows there, or what?
Yeah. No, my eyebrows have been dark, but now they're going white. But then the other one you were going to show, that's me in an A12. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Nice.
And that's me. That's me in an Australian F-111C that I acquired for the Pacific Aviation Museum in Pearl Harbor when I was a curator.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then
I hope all those screws are pushed in properly.
Yeah, and the one below the one below that, this is the ballast control station of the deadliest submarine in the ocean. This is, well, it's not right now because it's broken, but this is the ballast control station for the USS Connecticut, one of 3 Seawolf submarines. And I had a chance to do a photo shoot. I covered most of the sub from the reactor bulkhead forward. And when this submarine goes on patrol, it has 8 torpedo tubes. It carries 50 torpedoes, and it was designed from its conception for one submarine to be able to take out the entire Soviet Northern Fleet.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is that like C-3PO on the bottom right-hand corner there, or just like the door or something to the room?
This looks like a steering wheel. Is that what you're talking about?
What is that little round thing?
That may be the telegraph for the. They don't control anything. They request the guys in the maneuvering room. I need more power. Slow me down. Do whatever. I know they had a guy who had a.
Is that an alien body? You
dude, that's a turkey sandwich with mustard on it.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Oh, it was that worm-like thing in the movie Life. Anybody see that one?
I kind of liked that. It was like an evil starfish, right?
Yeah. But
yes, dude. Yes.
Before you can get your submarine dolphins, it takes anywhere from 6 months, absolute minimum, but typically a year and a half. You have to be able to stand in any position on that submarine as backup.
Wow. So you got to know how to do everything.
Yeah. So even the cook.
Damn.
Yeah. The guy that
Steven Seagal.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
Have many talents.
Oh, I get a kick when they're sneaking underneath
under
the floors
siege
to go
man.
Somewhere. There's no room on a submarine. Every cubic inch of that submarine, especially when they leave port for patrol. I mean, the floors are about 10 inches higher than normal because they put all the canned goods down all the hallways and in all the billington areas, and they have boards that go down. So you don't know. I mean, The only way you know that you've been at sea for a while is now the floors are now at the normal height because they've used all those canned goods.
That's genius.
You know, they had Steven Seagal on Under Siege on the battleship.
Yep.
That was cool. Then they had him on the lame ass Under Siege where he fought on a train. But if I got to make an Under Siege, I'd put him on a fucking submarine. Wouldn't that be cool? His ponytail would get caught on all kinds of shit when he's fighting. And there's no way he'd be able to throw like a punch or a kick because all the like quarters are so tight.
There's no room in there, dude.
And and every time you'd see him run, he'd just run down like one of these submarine corridors and look like such a dork.
Yes, he does run like a dork. Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's like, how do you want me to make you pasta tonight, boys?
That was really good.
Yeah.
Also, he can kick all of our asses, probably.
Yeah, when I was in Hawaii.
Nah, he's a fake martial artist. Everybody says so.
Yeah,
he couldn't kick our asses.
have like a
He'd
visual
throw a sandwich at us or something.
That's why that sandwich was in there, dude.
When I was in Hawaii, I had a chance to go through places that the public doesn't go on the USS Missouri, and that's cool. I mean, there's. I was in places. I mean, I'm sure if my guide had a heart attack and died, I'd have had to shoot myself because I had no idea how to get the hell out of there because we went through so many doors and they closed so many on our way through. And
did they ever talk to you about? I know this is a like dumb question, but it's kind of a joke too. How did they keep smell reduction when they dive in those boats? Like, what if like half a whole area of the boat gets sick and everybody's like diarrhea and like, you know, shitting their pants and like puking and stuff? Do they have like super good ventilation in submarines or?
No. When the guys come off of patrol, these are primarily for the Ohio boats. They call them stinkies.
Great.
because you can't. I've been told you can't use deodorant because the active ingredient in there screws up the CO2 scrubbers.
Oh shit!
Damn.
And if they run the diesel generator, the diesel engine to operate that's their auxiliary power, you get all the smell of diesel is all over that whole submarine.
Damn.
So you get off and you are pretty rancid. And when you're in a sub, and depending on if they're running silent or what's happening, you don't have leisurely showers. You go in there, you wet yourself up, lather up, and
right to the bar.
Yeah, and then you rinse yourself off, and then you're out. You're done. And they're putting women. And I have nothing. I love women. I really do.
Oh, he does love the women. He's had a couple wives.
They have to accommodate women now in the new fast attacks. They're reconfiguring the Virginia class, which is the newest subs. The Ohio boats were big enough to accommodate them. They could always put their bilgeon in between the missile tubes, and I don't know. It's not a place for mixed company. Either having an all-female crew, but then the world would come to an end because they'll all have PMS at the same time. Well, fuck them. We're going to end this right now. Push all the buttons. Yeah.
Launch all the nuclear bombs from the submarine.
Oh, God.
The first time I went,
Stinkies.
The first time I went to Bangor, and this is before it became politically incorrect. I was one of the ready rooms for one of the gold crews, and they had a big, huge poster. It was an Ohio boat with all 24 hatches open, and you see 24 mushroom clouds in the background. It said 24 empty tubes. It's Miller time.
Sweet.
Yes.
Hey,
I want a poster of that.
One real quick follow-up question. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, dude.
You're actually doing a book on nuclear submarines. So if they're not running on diesel, would these people still be stinkies? If they're running on nuclear power?
No, they're auxiliary engine. When you go in, if you're gonna go into dry dock, but you need all the electrical running, and you shut down the reactor. You put it in inactive status, but you haven't hooked up to shore power yet. So you have it's a huge the ones in the older subs, even the Seawolf boat, are your Fairbanks Morris diesel locomotive engines, and they're huge. Now they're using a Cat 12-cylinder. Before with the Fairbanks Morris diesel engines, it would take hours to go through the procedures to start the thing up. With the Cat, they turn the thing on, when the red light comes on, you press the button, it's running.
Nice.
Guys, I have a question. Might take us a little off course, but I watching the documentary. There was a moment when we're talking. Richie Dolan actually says this. He said, Richie
Dick.
I didn't say it.
Dick Dolan.
Hey,
in the house.
Dick Dolan. Okay, come on. He says, in order to control the ground forces, you must control space. And this kind of ties into a lot of this radar telemetry and the geometry of these craft, the angles, both defensive and offensive. As we're moving into this new era of satellite technology, is that statement about we have to control space, is that kind of the reason we don't know a lot about that yet? Is that for a reason? Is this like the newest, instead of buying the best and fastest and most stealthy plane, do you think things are moving in a way where we got to find the best, the most durable, and the stealthiest satellite instead? Because like those are the sneaky boys. Yeah. And then maybe we use these TR3Bs to gently float them up into the atmosphere without making a huge kabang.
Yeah, very possibly. Rocket. Possibly. I mean, like, the big weaponry that's public right now, Russia has, or all kinds of nations want to have these rockets that shoot into space and then come down on you like an asteroid. You know, like they come out of space and just come right through the atmosphere and hit the target. So those, I can't remember what they're called, but they travel so fast once they've entered the atmosphere that there's no technology right now to intercept them unless you were in space. And this comes back to secret space activity, because you would literally have to have some kind of supremacy of space above the United States if you wanted to protect it. If you wanted to be ready for that type of missile technology, you better have something out there that's ready to like locate it and shoot it out of space before it can enter the atmosphere. So I think they have. I think Russia has it. I think China's probably got a couple, copy SpaceX programs going on, so it's what we do. If one nation makes some kind of technology, the other nation's copying it or using some kind of spies or using hackers these days to somehow extract the data of what another nation has in terms of military arsenal. And yeah, I think space is the real secret sauce to waging a war these days.
Whoever controls space controls the world. I mean, and you have to, we have to be dominant. We don't want the Chinese, God forbid, that fat Nork, whatever goes by. Yeah.
Kim Jong-un?
Yeah. Yes.
Internet down.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have internet to take us down.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They have one link, and it's attached to
I think we're more worried about Winnie the Pooh than Kim Jong Un.
Yeah, that's my fear too.
Oh god. In order to access the internet, you have to first fill in the password, and it's always like, "We love Supreme Leader," and then it allows you to access it. And then all those internet accesses through the day go into his inbox, and then he just gets to open up and read it. And he's like, "The people love me. I told you."
Well, no one has internet over there. They don't even. They have to. They have to like sneak little mini DVD players that have those like things we had in the 90s that had a screen attached to them like a laptop.
Yeah,
that's how they secretly watch videos from the West. They don't have internet, so it's all they have to watch it on archaic media technology, right?
Watching the UFO Garage podcast tonight. Everybody in North Korea
on DVD, rewritable.
Yes, dude.
I mean, but it's I don't know. It's the technology. Is the internet really worth it? I mean, it used to take days, months, sometimes even years for fuck ups to become apparent. Now it happens in a nanosecond.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and it's not because of the the masses. We always thought, well, maybe the masses are so stupid because they haven't had access to the information. Well, that's that point is bogus now. I mean, when you have access to anything and everything. I don't know.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's an instant library of information.
And I can't remember if I already said it, but when I was talking about Ben, did I go through just before he died what he told me?
He said that he loves ETs. He misses ET.
No, I mean, you have to excuse me. I've been
ET, take me home.
I spoke to Ben Rich just before he died. He was at USC Medical Center. I think I got that far, then I got sidetracked. And we were talking about my friend and his friend, John Andrews from Testers, who had long passed. And we got to the point, he said, Jim, we have things out in the desert that's 50 years beyond what you can comprehend. And I can comprehend a hell of a lot. And he said, and if you've seen movies like Star Trek or Star Wars, we've been there, done that, or decided it wasn't worth the effort. So if you've seen Star Trek or Star Wars, we've done that. And I can't imagine. I'd like to know what items that they decided it wasn't worth the effort.
Lightsabers.
I was going to say, I want my damn lights.
I want one so bad.
Dude.
Yeah. So
what crystal would you pick?
I'd go green.
Do you want the lightsaber, dude?
No, I go blue.
Or do you want the Beskar armor?
No,
are you gonna,
dude. No.
Are you gonna follow the way, or are you gonna follow the Force?
Is that the Mr.
What's
Dave
happening
Scott?
in Vegas?
Dude, you don't know yet?
No, dude.
First off, thanks, Dave, for that awesome super chat, brother.
Yeah.
Yes,
Dave, what up, brother?
Darcy, you're coming to Vegas, dude. That's what's happening.
When? Count me in.
The 22nd, 23rd, and 23rd of April.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. I'm there.
Is it the Gold Coast or the Gold Nugget?
Golden Nugget.
Golden
Ah,
Nugget
I've seen the Gold Nugget. That's in like Old Town, LA.
That's downtown.
Yeah,
That's downtown.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Fremont.
Do they got $5 craft tables?
I'm sure they do.
I hope so.
Yeah,
Gee.
dude.
Wait,
I think they have some $5 hookers there, but
That as well. Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been to the
thanks.
Golden Nugget. It's pretty awesome. I didn't have any money by the time I made it there, so I didn't really gamble much inside of the Golden Nugget, but it was pretty dope.
You spent all the
What's the
machines
show?
at the airport.
he gambled on the sidewalk. Yeah.
What's the show?
So I'm not 100% sure on all the details. It's still kind of new and fresh, but from what I understand, I think we're going to be doing a live thing from 4 o'clock to like 10 o'clock at night, I believe, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. It's on Spaced Out Radio website. You can go check it out.
Okay.
There's still going to be details that are going to be coming in. But Jim's going out there. Michael Schratt's going to be out there. We're going to be doing a live show.
Jim's son.
With Dave Scott and us. And
amazing. I'm going to be on Dave's show next week. with Jim. So
nice, dude.
we gotta get some plans.
February
to go,
8th.
And it's a free event, man. So anybody can come. Just RSVP on the website. I mean, you don't even have to RSVP. I wouldn't assume. You just show up, man. It's free. We're gonna be hanging out, having a good time, doing live shows, and then we're gonna have just like meet and greet hangouts and all over the area.
And I'll take if we have the time, I'll be the lead vehicle, if you so to speak. I'll take you to the north fence line, Area 51.
Woo!
And I'll take you to the fence line at Tonopah Test Range.
Never
That'd
been.
Be amazing.
Go?
Let's go.
So you can look down and see the whole facility. And the spooky stuff's supposed to fly on weekends. That's the real spooky stuff out of Area 51. But today,
Dave, send me an email. I wanna see more details about this. If you're listening, brother.
Dude, yes, it's gonna be a riot.
Yeah.
Well, there's gonna be some. It's
gonna be dangerous. Is what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Last time I saw Dave was at Paracon in like Bellingham, Washington, and there was like 5 people there. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in Vegas.
I mean, if it's 5 people, we're gonna go ham. So I don't think it'll. Yeah, dude, it's gonna be so much fun.
I mean, I don't care if nobody's there other than our group.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't need a lot of people to have a good time. I just want to be with people that I enjoy being around, and it's. I think I mentioned it to a couple of people. I said this for the first time in a long time. I feel very comfortable with people I chose to hang around with. It's you guys,
Love you, bro.
Yeah, and I do. It's just the bullshit level has gone down to 0, pretty much.
Unless you're talking
you accept everybody, you accept each other for who you are.
Yeah.
You don't try to be something you're not. And I say from the moment I met you in the lobby there at the Holiday Inn in San Francisco, that was
we created a bond that should never be broken.
The Wayne's World of the UFO community.
Sweet.
Man.
Yeah.
We'll take
Garth.
that label.
Yeah,
for sure.
Wayne.
For sure. Man, I remember that like it was yesterday. I'm sitting there, we're standing at the table, and then I see Jim walk in. I'm like, Ben. I'm like, dude, that's fucking Jim Goodall. And he was like,
I was like, who?
I was like, yeah, he's friends with like Bob Lazar. Like he's been out to Area 51 and all that stuff. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah. And then we just started chit-chatting with Jim, and we were drinking our wine, we were hanging out. And Jim was like, I gotta step outside for a little break. So we went outside, hung out, just started chit-chatting, and then before I knew it, 3 months later, he's hanging out at the house.
Yeah.
And
I
was on a road trip. And I told him, I said, if I'm within 100 miles of Taylor, Texas, I'll be there. Now you have a shot of me when in front of your house, standing in front of my
God,
my road trip car.
It'll take me a minute, but I'll find it.
We have it on Facebook. I'm pretty sure we posted it in there.
Sweet. Is that in the Corvette?
Yeah. He came up in the Corvette.
Yeah,
That's right.
I've taken a ride in that. We only went to Denny's, and what's the Air Force Museum we went to there, Jim?
Oh, Pima, the Pima Air and Space Museum.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's got a Blackbird in it, or a
Blackbird D-21, and a lot of other really cool stuff.
The drone, the D-21 drone. Even back in the 1960s, we had drones, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
And we had drones that were stealth. We had drones that flew at 90,000 feet at 2,400 miles an hour.
Shoo.
Cray.
Damn.
But those ones would just crash over the enemy's land. They didn't make it back to the base, the D-21 at least, right?
Yeah, there was 5 pounds of explosive cord throughout the airframe, and at about 55,000 feet, the pallet, it's 830 some odd pounds. There we go.
It is.
Hey, who's the guy with the short blonde hair? What a dork.
Yeah. It was a,
I don't even know.
and
who that is.
I've had this thing up to 140 plus, and I love it.
Man, I was telling Ben, I was like, I've seen this damn car 3 times, and I have yet to get inside and ride it.
Same.
I still need to take a ride along.
Oh,
I've seen it 3 times and haven't been in it yet.
Well, tell you what, when I come by this summer, I may even let you drive it.
Hey, we can contact the private airport out here in Taylor and see if we could take it out there on the runway.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool.
We know somebody that works there. Travis.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's the patch I designed for Popular Science, March '94.
Yeah.
And Glenn Campbell had it made. We sort of worked in concert with it.
Going right here.
And I told them they can use that as far as I'm concerned, since I have I have part of the copyright on it. But he sold all this. Glenn sold all the remaining patches and stuff to I can't remember who it was, but they needed a patch for the March '94 issue of Popular Science. And the paranormal chop shop. Yep.
Sunny.
Yeah. How's it going? And we needed a patch for the for the article. And Stu Brown, who was the chief or senior technical writer for Popular Science, we became instant friends, and we are today. He's the minister of words. All the guys that used to go out and snoop on the government, everybody had their own nickname. Mark Farmer was Agent X. Michael Dornheim, he was Mohammed. No, he was the Ayatollah.
The Ayatollah.
Ayatollah.
Supreme.
Yeah. I was either the great one or the senator. That's per Stu Brown.
They called you El Guapo.
Yeah. We go in here and he called me senator. All of a sudden, we get all sorts of really good service.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question about this patch, man. So in the documentary, we talk about the significance of the vector that's in like all these patches that have to do with like NASA and stuff like that. And then I'm looking at this patch right here, and we clearly have a triangular object in this patch. What's that little guy all about?
Jim. What is that, bud?
Yeah, Jim.
It's representative of the F-117, even the Blackbird.
But the F-117 has a totally different tail section, bro.
Yeah, but I was putting this together using the same criteria that you put together on the.
Jim knows what the TR3B is, boys. He just can't. He's sworn to secrecy.
No. I mean, somebody asked me when I first got involved with you characters. So what are you holding back? I said, absolutely nothing. I said, what do you mean? I said, if I know something, I'm gonna make sure that you know it.
Yeah.
Well, how does that work? And I said, if I don't share it with anybody, if I keep it in my head and I drop over dead conveniently or whatever, that's gone. But if the moment I get it, if I share it to this community or whatever else it is, then getting rid of me doesn't do any good because the word's already out.
Yeah. That's a good idea. It sounds like a safe bet. I mean, out of everybody that I've met, Jim, you're pretty much like the straightest of all shooters. You ask people questions and there's a lot of pause. I got to think about this for a second before I say it. And then we get these good answers, and we know that they're not lying. We just know that they can't always say stuff. But when you ask Jim a question, shit, you get an answer. I love it. It's so straight.
Steel cage, though.
And I proved the point on June 3rd of this past year when I'm in the back of a limousine with the vice president general manager of the Skunk Works. And I looked him straight in the eye. I said, all right, what's the Skunk Works involvement in alien technology? UFOs, flying saucers, UAPs.
And he was like, blah, 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 blah.
And he said, Jim, I said, I'm being honest with you. And you could tell by his reaction when he was surprised I said it, but he wasn't offended.
Yeah.
And he said, I said, my personal belief, I said, I don't think we can be alone. It's too big of a universe. Lockheed's official policy, it's a no comment. But he said, I have not been.
Why is it their official?
I have not been read into any program that dealt with UFO technology. He said, doesn't mean it wasn't developed here and now it's gone. It's operational. It's deep, deep black. I have no need to know what its capabilities are. That doesn't mean that hasn't happened, but that's just, pulling an idea out of the air. It doesn't mean it's
talk to Shrad about the burn trenches when you see
the burn trenches. That's when a program ended. Everything, tools, any type of test equipment they had, drawings. If they had special suits or whatever, everything went in the pit. They put in 50 or 60 gallons of avgas and threw a match.
What?
And there's some images. I don't know if they're still floating around. There's got to be where satellite shot of Area 51, and you can see the smoke
from the burn trench.
And this is when they were burning the resins and stuff used on low observable aircraft.
But that's not safe, I'd assume.
That's because if you were working on
Fred Dunham was standing in front of that campfire.
Shoot.
Yeah, you take if you get a whiff of the solvents they use on low observable,
your nose melts off.
No, you're damaged. You're damaged, right? I mean, there's no going back. A friend of mine who was one of the first enlisted guys on the F-117 program, he said everybody he knows has had a bout with cancer, either polyps or throat cancer, esophageal cancer, lung cancer. He said that stuff is just nasty.
Stealth tech is dirty business, man.
The newer stuff I don't think is as dangerous. At least I haven't heard it. But the early stuff was really,
you would
really
hope
nasty.
so, right?
Yeah, really, really nasty stuff. So
they don't just use Dynamat. Do you guys ever use Dynamat on something? A noise reduction material?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just joking.
Dude, so there was another thing in the documentary that was pretty crazy. It was quasi-crystals.
Shit. I was going to get another drink, dude. Oh, I want to hear this part. Dude.
Yeah. Quasi-crystals, the whole story with that is that it would help in the propulsion of the MFD, the magnetic field disruptor, somehow. Boom, boom. Jim's out. Jim's back.
He's getting another drink.
So, nice. So, and then the additional thing to note about quasi-crystals is that they're just not naturally occurring. So these are manufactured crystals to serve a certain special application. And Dan Sheckman was the scientist who made the breakthrough and proved that quasi-crystals can exist. And then he did a whole term working at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is where many people say that alien tech has been stored, right? Roswell, New Mexico crash type stuff. Yeah. So it's interesting that Dan Sheckman headed over there after he proved his theory on quasi-crystals. You would think that if they're going to apply that type of tech to military applications, that would be the perfect place for Dan Sheckman to land. And and Edgar Fouche, he was the guy who blew the whistle on the TR3B in the late 90s. And he mentioned quasi-crystals. And quasi-crystals didn't hit the mainstream scientific community until well into the 2000s. So, you have somebody that's basically bringing out this information way before it's out in the public. And then it manifests itself in the public, and it's like a real technology. Same thing with metamaterials, same thing with this MFD, rotating superconductor. We know that that's been well discussed by many other physicists. Dr. Eugene Podkolonov, a Russian, Ning Li, they all talked about this technology. NASA wrote a paper on this technology. So it's like, if Edgar Fouche was full of it and the TR3B tech was fake, you wouldn't have all these other scientific discoveries proving that that stuff exists today.
So that kind of ties it all together a little bit to give it some meat,
Little meat to that sandwich, boys.
Yeah, a little bit of rib meat.
Like that.
I don't know, maybe something like a brisket. So what is a quasi-crystal? Like, are we talking about like a mineral composition?
It would be something that they would build down to like a more microscopic level. They would probably layer some kind of, they would layer like glass or whatever, but you're good, like fiber optics, technically. If you look at special application fiber optics, that would be a quasi-crystal. And if, Jim's talking about, there you go, quasi-crystals are formed in nuclear blasts. They give information about the nature of the explosion. Boom. Thanks, Jeremy Reese.
Smart.
Jeremy Reese. He's the man.
That's what's
up. Yeah, I mean, like, that, I believe it. I didn't really believe the TR3B could have been a craft until I spoke to Jeremy Reese. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This guy's the real deal. He's a physicist. He's well educated on what's possible. I think he even wants to create a super ferrofluid engine. He was talking about possibly trying to acquire Mercury and do that. I don't know how hard that would be though, but
it doesn't sound easy.
No, and I'm sure somewhere like Area 51 would be the best place to carry that out.
You just go to a lot of high school physics classes, and you just take a lot of the thermometers, right? Like,
yeah.
Only time I've ever interacted with Mercury. Terrible joke.
Amazing.
Well,
a little bit of radiation poisoning there too, or no, a little mercury poisoning.
Yeah, I'm surprised I'm not dead, because when I was, I guess about 10 or 11, right, my dad was a professor at San Jose State, and he was also a professor at Stanford in electrical engineering. But he brought home a 5-pound cask of triple distilled mercury. Now this was
cool.
scientific grade, not. I
What's
had
he
all
doing
sorts of
with
shiny
that?
coins.
Philosopher's
How do I get this
solution.
stuff off?
Was he working on the TR3B?
Was he? No. I don't know. I know he worked on. He's doing some work for Westinghouse, and this is the 1950s. And his favorite program in the whole wide world was Maverick with James Garner. And he was just laying back on the couch getting ready to watch it. And all of a sudden, some ham radio operator somewhere was blasting off frequency, and it was turning the screen white. And my father was going insane because they can't see his favorite program. Yeah, my dad was a mad scientist, by the way. We had a workshop in the back.
We've never talked about your dad. This is amazing.
He's an interesting guy. But he went the next day. He had written down the call sign and called a friend of his who was a ham radio operator. Said, "Where is this guy located? Because he's interfering with my TV." And he said, "Well, hell," I said, if you go look out in your backyard and look, and the other side, the people on the other side of the fence, about 4 houses down, you'll see a big antenna. That's him." Oh, okay. So my dad worked directly with the Bureau of Standards. He's a standards and calibration person. He's a senior metrology engineer. And so he goes over, he got his oscilloscope and everything else. I mean, his hobby and what he's one of the best in the world are standards. So he goes over there and said, "Hey, I'm your neighbor. It's this and that." And I said, "Yeah, I think you're transmitting on a frequency. I brought some equipment to help you. Let's tune this thing up." He told my father, "Go to hell, get the hell out of his property." My dad said, "Oh, fine." So went home. The following Monday, because I think Maverick was on a Tuesday. Dad brought home that night this big box with a parabolic antenna, and he went up, put it up on the top of his workshop, and aimed this antenna right towards his antenna, this guy's antenna. Ran a coax through the thing, and then had everything set up. It was a test version of the ALQ-99 tactical jamming system used on the EA-6B Prowler and now the Growler, the F-18 version. And
I thought you were going to say like them pointing at each other created the first lightsaber.
No. So Dad's getting ready to watch Mavericks coming on. All of a sudden, the guy's transmitting off frequency, and Dad said, "Unplug and turn off all the electronics in the house." Okay, so I unplugged everything. Dad went into his garage, hit the button, and then went outside, took everything off, put it away, came back in, turned the TV on, and turns out he had backed up so much RF radiation back into this guy's transmitter receiver, it blew the shit off the wall.
Whoa!
He didn't know what it was like his antenna was hit by lightning.
That's some Rick and Morty shit right there.
Dude, yeah.
And that's my dad did stuff like that, and so I learned from the best.
So
Rick Sanchez is your dad?
Yeah. Pardon?
We've been jammed.
Rick Sanchez is the
He got
name
real jammed, yeah.
of the main character in Rick and Morty. Really, Jim, you would love that show if you haven't seen it, dude. It's so good.
Oh yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's hilarious.
Oh my god. So we're getting close to like the 2 hour mark, guys. I don't know how much time you have, but I do have one question. I mean,
you got to change a diaper? Is that the question?
Oh, I mean, I'm pretty good at changing a diaper. I've been changing my own for years. But like, so we're talking about this technology, and is it ours? Is it theirs? Theirs meaning like extraterrestrial. What do you think would be the reason we don't tell the American public that, yeah, there's aliens everywhere? Like, what do you, in your opinion, like, do you think there's I mean, I'm not saying speculate what the reason is, but like,
speculate what the reason is.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could, but well, maybe the reasons why you wouldn't share that info. Like, there's been plenty of people that were like, if you knew the truth. Ooh.
I think maybe the plan is to slowly educate us on that. Like, people will say the disclosure event that happened in 221 that was pretty dismal, but I think it was something. It was like acknowledging that there's a phenomenon. Whereas before, Project Blue Book was basically just saying there is no phenomenon. It's just people mistaking things. Now they're saying, okay, we're going to invest money to identify the phenomenon further, because if it's not this, and this, and this, it's possibly dangerous in our airspace to our, commercial and military airspace, whatever, right? It's bullshit. I mean, in my opinion, there's someone in the know in the powers that be that knows the full truth of what's going on around the planet. And guys like Christopher Mellon and, I do believe some of these guys that have been working for TTSA are trying to make inroads to get this information out. Anthony Podesta was pretty instrumental to trying to get some kind of formal acknowledgement. Hal Puthoff. I think these guys are legit. And I think as the years go by, we will get drips. We're not going to get the full thing, but we're going to get bits and bits and bits, because we're not going anywhere but up to the stars. We can't. We're going to run out of space. We're going to destroy the planet at some point, and we have to keep going out there, and publicly. If we're going to go publicly, I think we're going to start to get more disclosure, because the cat's going to be out of the bag if you've got these billionaires flying into space like Jeff Bezos and stuff, and they're witnessing things that can't be explained as like satellites and stuff. And the astronauts, a lot of astronauts, you know, Edgar Mitchell, just every story, Musgrave, so many different astronauts from different eras have had UFO experiences in space. I think it's logical that if we get to a point where it's not just astronauts going up there, but settlers and stuff like that, we'll have to know what we're going to be encountering. That's what I'm saying, boys.
I'd go on a heartbeat.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
I would too.
I'd have gone up in a space shuttle the day after Challenger blew up.
Damn, but you were recovering, so you couldn't have.
Yeah, but I was, like I say, I was recovering from brain surgery. So
yeah, it was the same day, wasn't it, as Challenger?
Yeah, I was under anesthesia for 11 hours, and I think the surgery was 9.5.
Yeah,
and
yeah, but I would love to go, man. I would love to go. It'd be so awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, like,
affordable space travel.
But what if you found out that the reason why we don't know this information and we're not, like, the public isn't being told is because if you go to space, like, they're gonna kill you. Like, just we're not allowed to go up there, like, as a species. Like,
you mean like the folks that are in space looking at us that are not us are gonna kill us?
I don't know. Maybe there's multiple, but what if there's a treaty that's like the reason why they're not telling us the full truth? They, as in like the people in the know, there's like a reason why we don't know the truth is because it's fucking scary. It's like, if we go out there, man, if we touch that boat,
society, the boat could be rocked. You know, the boat of society. If we're mentally stabilized by just, you know, turning our brains off and watching the Avengers and stuff all the time, maybe that's what they want us to do rather than, you know, striving to be in outer space. Because maybe that is the scary truth. Maybe Richard Dolan even mentions in the documentary that he's not thoroughly convinced that all extraterrestrial races would be benevolent. You know, he thinks that some may be malevolent, and that could be a reason for the militaries around the world to keep a lid on the UFO subject, because maybe this threat is real, and it could be, you know, destabilizing to people's psyche if they knew about this threat. It makes you less likely to, you know, to want to wake up and go make a tire in the morning at work when, you know, the world could end because some extraterrestrial race could just land and finish everything in a second because they're so advanced.
I think if they could have, they would have already. I don't think if they were against the detonation of the bomb, then for sure after Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Mm-hmm.
But
there's also that like Star Trek, you know, do no harm, don't interfere protocol sort of theory,
the advancement
right?
of another civilization.
So I look at that in a light of like positivity, where like that means that we're safe as long as we stay in our coral reef. Like, just stay here, we're good, we have protection of some sort, it does feel like, and there's some cooperation between our government and whoever is looking after us. That almost gives me some.
It's just not human nature. Humans want to
touch that boat,
and we want to touch it, and we want to know what's on the other side of the fence.
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
Yeah, we're a bunch of clownfish that want to leave the anemone.
Yeah,
and how does a turtle move? It sticks its neck out first, and it may not be the fastest.
Slow and steady.
But I just gobble this shit up. I really do. I love it. I love the, I enjoy the people in it. It's an interesting and fascinating area that we all have a common interest in.
Yeah.
I feel that the world's not ready. And was the Israeli scientist or UFO specialist basically said the same thing, that the world is not ready for disclosure. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen soon, but it's not going to happen today.
Yeah.
And this was last year, or year before last, when he made those comments. And the other thing, my area of interest is things that go bump in the night. That goes without question. But I'm a hardware guy. I focus on stuff I can put my hands on, and because of that, I've had the honor and the privilege of meeting some of the most incredible people I've ever had the delight to meet. And I'm talking to 3 of them tonight. And I just really do like you guys.
Thanks, brother. Love you, man.
Love you, bro.
I root you. I root for you. I don't get to listen to very many of them because I do have a life. Because I work on books during the day. I have to spend time with the wife just so she doesn't say, well, maybe you'd live better if you lived in the garage.
Pack your bags.
Yeah.
As long as you can take the dog with you, right?
Yeah. Or no, if she had to choose between Scarlett and myself, I don't know if I'd come in first place or not.
I'd go with Scarlett.
She absolutely loves our dog, and she never knew you could love a dog before. And again, I'm serious when I think of it. She had to choose between Scarlett or me. I'd probably come in second place. Now she still take me along, but Scarlett, she's just this, and she's a feral dog. She was on the streets of Phoenix for probably the first, at least the first year that she was around. When they picked her up, it was about 120 degrees out. And she was skin and bones, and it was July of 19. And we ended up, July of 20, and we ended up adopting her 4 months later. And she's just...
she's a beauty.
Yes.
Tammy, thank you for the compliment. I'm a no bullshit guy. And like my TI told me in basic training in 1962, said, Goodall, you have everything going for you, but your mouth. And I hold that true today. And I speak my mind. And no one has a neutral opinion of me. Tammy, if you ever had a chance to meet me, or any of you out there had a chance to meet me, chances are you'll either really like me or you won't be able to stand me. And there's no in between. It's just who I am. I mean, and I don't try not to hold grudges. I have someone wants to hear what I have to say, let me know. I have a microphone right here. I got a earpiece. We got the internet.
You sound great.
And anytime Joe or Ben wants me on, I will drop everything that I can and be on, because they're just I like you guys. I really do. And there are not that many people. Like I say, I like airplanes and dancing and maybe and dogs and maybe 3 people, maybe 3 humans or 4 humans. There's a T-shirt like that out there.
Yes.
Yeah. But you're in that list. You're just. I feel sorry for both of you. Both have daughters now, and wait till they start dating. And hopefully I'll be around so I can laugh at you.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, dude.
Because it's going to be a joy to behold.
It's going to be
like
a wild ride.
You wear the
man.
shirt, you wear the T-shirt. I don't mind going back to prison as you're at the kitchen table cleaning your gun.
Yes.
That's happening.
Remember to bring my daughter home early.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like 1 minute late.
Yep. Yeah.
Load and show.
Don't forget, what you do to her, I will do to you.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Jim, we love you,
real.
man.
Yeah.
We love you, dude. Appreciate you saying that, man. We
Yeah.
love you, dude.
No, you two, I have some favorite. You guys are on top of my list. You and Dave Scott, I think you're out of this, the same crusty mold. Yeah, not the
Dave's a
mold you
beauty.
make something in, the mold you find in dirty corners of your kitchen, you know.
Yes,
So,
man. Yeah, well, it's always awesome, man. I mean, I think this is what, the third, fourth time you've been on the show,
Yeah.
Darcy. This is your second time being on the show.
Yeah.
I
What did
mean,
we talk about? Sasquatch last
Yeah, we
time?
talked about Sasquatch last time.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was a riot. Yeah.
It's
Stinky. He's a stinky.
yeah,
He's
that's
a
for sure.
stink.
I
Full
mean,
circle.
hey, but you talk to some of the Indian tribes in the Pacific Northwest and in Canada.
Yep.
They've been talking about a Sasquatch for hundreds of years.
Thousands, maybe. We don't have any records. They didn't have any. They didn't
I mean,
write anything down.
There are World War II airplanes. There's several hundred airplanes that were lost over the Rockies and over the Sierra Nevadas and the Cascades that nobody's ever found. So if you can't find something as large as an airplane that's made of metal and it's shiny, of course, overgrowth would take care of that. If you haven't find it in 70 years, what makes you think that Sasquatch? I mean, he is the perfect person for social distancing.
That's the ultimate. The ultimate
Yeah.
sci-fi movie is a UFO crashing in like northern British Columbia, and instead of humans going to like recover the craft, a bunch of Sasquatch come up and they're like, "Rah!"
yes,
And they're all
Sweet.
epic.
And the aliens are like, "We need to get out of here. What the fuck is that?"
Oh, dude, I'll play a Sasquatch, man. If you make that movie, I'll be a Sasquatch.
Sweet,
Yeah.
dude. We only have to put hair on your forehead.
Yeah,
That's
just
it.
right here, and that's it, man. And if you watch Topless Tuesdays, then you'll see that
You are
need hair.
you're a Squatch.
Yeah, we're good to go, man.
Sweet, dude. Stoked. You're hired.
Yes, for Halloween one year, I went as like a satyr, like a pan, and I just put the horns on my head. It was
It
perfect.
was so
dude.
good. It was so good.
Amazing.
I had the little pan flute. It was
You had
sick.
like the hooves and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, dude. I had a full like bottom costume. It came with hooves and everything. It was.
That's
it was
amazing.
dope.
The lady, is that how you met your wife
What was
or your
that?
girlfriend? Is that how you made your daughter?
no. I made my daughter because of a Santana and Doobie Brothers concert.
Sweet.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
Yeah, man. That black magic, man. Shit.
Beauty.
Oh,
There
me
you
as-
are.
That's me as
That's Chewy.
Chewbacca.
That's
Chewbacca.
Chewy. Yeah, sweet.
I didn't find the pan one just yet. Oh my god, this one's classic. Dude.
Oh yeah, I went as a pack of zigzags for Halloween.
if you did
Zigzag. Yeah.
if you did a ponytail and shaved your face, you might pass for Steven Seagal as well.
I could, man. I could, but no, this beard's staying for good, man. It's staying for good.
For sure.
That's
No
for
worries.
sure.
Oh,
Heck yeah.
But first
Well,
time he
guys.
tries to light a blunt and
Yep.
Natural
Yeah,
kindling.
I bet you can't do that after you walk off of a submarine. You're covered in diesel fumes.
oh yeah.
Stinky.
Well,
shit.
it permeates everything. So your clothes smell like diesel. If you've had the auxiliary motor running at all,
Crikey, mate.
and I bet you become nose blind until you come out in fresh air.
You don't know, you stink.
No. I knew a guy. I can't remember Joe's last name. It wasn't you, but I replaced me. He had gotten 5 DUIs he had 3 in one day, and
Oh my god.
they took his license and it took his time away from the general public for about a year.
What did he just keep running like from one
He got
test to the other?
He got stopped by the same cop twice in one day.
Oh no.
Oh
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
dude.
But he lived. I went and picked up the company car, and he lives downwind from the stockyards in Omaha. And you go there, and it's enough to gag a maggot to say, and that's a true statement. That is nasty.
Never
That's
heard
pretty-
that one before.
And I said, how do you
I've
deal
never
with
heard that
that?
one before
How do you
either.
deal? And it was a hot, humid day too. He said, I said, yeah, you become nose blind after a while. I said, no,
Enough
you
to
don't. This is really, oh my God.
enough to gag a Sasquatch.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Uh,
and Submarine dude. Now I have to resubmit because this scandemic that we were it's sort of behind us now. There's so many, all the nation, most of Europe is now dropping all requirements for everything. But I had requested that the next Virginia class leaving overhaul at Bremerton, heading back to Pearl Harbor, I want to be on, because I want to write a brief piece on life on the world's most advanced fast attack submarine.
That would be awesome.
Oh yeah. And I would stay with the XO. That's where the distinguished visitors.
You'd have a bunk
stay.
bed. You'd have a bunk bed.
Yeah, they have a bunk bed in the XO's office or his billeting area, and he shares a bathroom and a shower with the captain, and they have an adjoining bathroom.
Three's company.
Yeah. And it's amazing.
They all get in at the same time.
Yeah,
save water.
Now, since the last time I saw you guys, I've lost 40 pounds during this pandemic.
Whoa!
Yeah,
so the opposite happened to you.
I was about 260 at your place. I'm at 220 right now, or actually 218.
Thin Jim.
Slim Jim.
Slim Jim, dude.
Snap it to a Slim Jim.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
My goal is on March of this year, March 27th, I want to be at 207 pounds. And you wonder, why 207 pounds? Because 60 years ago, on March 27th of this year, I put my hand up and said, I hereby swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. It was on my 17th birthday, and I weighed 207 pounds. And I told myself about 30 years ago, I said, when I hit the big number, and it's been 60 years since I joined the Air Force, I like to be the same weight. And at one time, I was at 375 pounds. The fraud I was married to was hoping that I would die of a heart attack or diabetes or something. And I saw myself naked in the side view one day, and I was disgusted.
You walk by real quick, like, who the fuck is in here? Oh, it's me.
And I put myself on a diet. My subconscious knew I was going to have to be marketable again. My conscious mind was brain dead. And I lost 115 pounds in 5 months.
That's badass, dude.
That's awesome.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's nice.
I'm stubborn. I don't walk away from a fight or a battle. And that was a
challenge.
Battle. I love to eat. I'm mostly Sicilian, and happiness is through the mouth and elsewhere. But
I think we ate at Denny's 3 times in like 3 days or something, right?
Yeah.
When I was out there. Denny's can pack the pounds on for sure.
Oh yeah.
Did you get the Grand Slam or what, dude?
But when I come out there again, we're eating at Denny's.
Hey,
Sorry, your diet's over, bud.
Darcy, I remember when we were out in Sedona, we were hanging out with Jim. He slid me like $10, and he was like, "Hey man, run to the store and go get some cereal and some donuts."
Oh, okay. I know what you guys were doing.
The first night Jim got there.
Hey, when is that thing going to be ready?
Was that atomic? Was that what was the Russian stuff?
The Sputnik.
Sputnik. No.
I don't.
He has this atomic whatever. Jim.
I don't know. But all I know is the night that Jim got it there at the
was it Chernobyl? Was it Chernobyl?
Oh, no, Chernobyl.
Yeah. Chernobyl.
I think I had some Chernobyl with me when I was there.
Get the cereal.
And you glow in the dark.
Oh god,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was glowing in the dark just in the same room as you guys, man.
Did you guys go to that church in Sedona? That crazy church that's built out of like the actual mountainside?
Yeah, I've been in there.
It's beautiful, man.
It's real small inside. It's a cool place. But you look down on one of John McCain's houses, that big, huge complex.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Really? Or one of his grandchildren's houses now. He's gone, right?
Yeah, dude. It has like golden turquoise roof on his nuts.
Yeah.
Crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. A beautiful area there.
It is.
Yeah. But when's the documentary gonna be done? Ready?
So
you guys got a doc?
We do. We
What
do
is
have
it?
a doc. We don't. Okay, so like yeah, we said spring of 2022. So spring, probably early May, probably later spring. It's dude, it's like the story has evolved so much that we've kind of had to adapt to a lot of ways, and it's just such a good story. And yeah,
What's it about?
We're really trying to do it justice and do it in the right manner. So yeah, it's about and Joe, help me out if I say something wrong, but we're really focusing on the Eric Mitchell story. But we wanted to weave in a lot of information so it's an experiencer story, but it's also like backed with some some comments on certain aspects of his story. Jim himself is in the doc. Lauren Fenton, Melinda Leslie, Terry Lovelace were pending, but we've got just a bunch of really awesome people to speak on some of the aspects of what an experiencer goes through.
It's basically like hey, what'd you see? And Eric's like, oh, I saw this pretty amazing craft in the sky. I can't explain it. Cut to Jim Goodall. Jim Goodall, what do you know about crazy shit in the sky? Give me your professional expertise.
Sweet.
That kind of stuff. I had some, I think, military involvement with my abduction. Melinda Leslie, my lab's expert in the world. Can you give us some of your information? She went through some
terrifying stuff,
dude. I know. So it's really just kind of like bouncing like these stories, because with a lot of stories, man, you get into this like just like this
alternate reality.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's just really wild. And the pictures and things like that don't always do the story justice. And it's like, well, we've got a whole bunch of people, awesome people surrounding us that have 40, 50 plus years of information on these topics. Let's ask the experts,
Right.
So
dope. Yeah. That's amazing. I can't wait to see it.
And it was fun. And I got sunburnt going back and forth with the drone. I had to top off my Corvette. And I had shorts on. The top of my legs from where my shorts stopped to my kneecaps were almost blistered.
Your hamburgers.
You had hamburger legs.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. We got some sick shots though. It's gonna be worth it, bro.
Stoked. I want to see it.
It is. It is, man.
But
that was a fun couple of days.
Yeah. I was gonna say earlier, the night you got there, Jim, we burnt the pizza. Remember that?
It was like, this is all we got.
You remember that? We had no food. Like we're just like basically just like a couple college kids. Like we didn't think about food. We were like, oh yeah, I forgot. We should probably eat something. And like we have this one pizza and we get to talking and like 45 minutes in, we smell this burning thing. And I'm like, the pizza's off. Somebody get the fire.
Crazy. Where were you guys staying?
At an Airbnb right outside of downtown, like proper
Sedona. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That was fun.
Burnt it down.
Pretty much.
Almost. It was good. We didn't get charged for it, so it was nice.
The pizza got charred, but we just didn't get charged. Dang it. Well, I was trying. Dude, this has been a freaking amazing, guys.
I know.
Yeah, I thoroughly. We should. I mean, I know you're getting pulled in all kinds of different directions, Jim, and Darcy. You guys are both welcome on anytime. We want to start doing some kind of like round table or something. I was talking to Big Willie about.
I'm happy to be on. Yeah, definitely. Count me in.
Too. I mean,
okay, cool. We'll let you.
Awesome. I don't drink, but it keeps me out of the bars.
For sure. I've got I've got like 8,000 people or something on YouTube, and
awesome.
I'll broadcast it out whenever you guys want to do it, for sure.
Yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. Yeah. So I mean, before we kind of close out and get out of here, Jim and Darcy, Darcy, we'll start with you, man. Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can see this awesome documentary, and just any other information. You've got other pretty kick-ass documentaries that you can see as well.
Just my website's just occult, www.occultjourneys.com. That's my studio site. If people want to check out the trailer to my films or the posters, they can click on the poster, it'll go right through to one of my streaming links to watch the film, and you got descriptions there, all that. Yeah, there you go. You guys got it up. So yeah, it's all good. I'm on just Darcy Weir on social media, so you can find me on Facebook or Instagram. Not really on TikTok or any of that jazz yet, but this is where I play. Happy to talk to folks too.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Jim, how
Yes.
about you, man?
I don't have a website. I spend too much time in front of this stupid computer as it is. Like I said, I don't know if we were on the air at the time, but I just finished my 29th book. I just sent that off to the publisher, so I've actually had some downtime on the computer. So I have to find something to do. So I'm more than happy to do that. There's one of my books. There's the my SR-71 book. It's, according to everybody, it is the book to have, and that pleases the hell out of me.
Mr. Crowley, get that book. That's a badass book. We got somebody in the chat who's a big fan of the SR-71. He said that's why he joined the Air Force in the first place. So check that book out. It's
yeah. I was 18 years old when I saw it for the first time. I was in the ramp at Edwards Air Force Base. I was a 18-year-old airman, second class. Of course, they don't use that term anymore because that's politically incorrect. You can't be second class. You're enlisted puke. You're below second class, but my newest one is the
75 years of Skunk Works.
75 years of the Lockheed Skunk Works, and it came out officially. It was June, but they didn't really start shipping books until July. So it's been out less than 6 months. And it's heading towards its third printing. I had 3 retired Skunk Works bosses send me an email. They just said, wow. Said, you have stuff in there I didn't know about. That tickled me. And it's 384 pages, 710 photos. I cover 43 plus programs. Some of the, of the over 700 photos, over half of them have never been in print before. And some of the subject matter has never been talked about before. But I had a book signing at the Skunk Works, and it was, there I am signing book. The guy with the mask is Jeff Babion, the vice president and general manager of the Lockheed Skunk Works. And that thing down on the bottom left, that is a pewter skunk. I'm the only non-Skunk Works person ever to get it.
That thing is heavy too.
Yeah,
it's a ton. I mean, it is a ton.
Cool.
Yeah,
I have a great photo of you getting out of your Corvette, and you got your Skunk Works trophy with you. It's a good photo.
Yeah, but this is the front of the front copy of the book. And I am very, very proud of it. It's hardbound. It is everybody who's seen it, everybody who's talked about it, other than if it was damaged in shipping, I have no control over that.
Yeah.
But it had nothing but rave reviews, and I'm honored to have been responsible for it. I mean, basically, I was as a historian, I just put everything together that they developed when they did. So I was, responsible for putting together. I can't say I was the author, but there's a lot of stuff in there that I have that no one else had, and it was something to be done. I have a lot of people help me with photos. I think they see my UFO interest as comical, but people who saw
it's real.
People who saw the Blackbird for the first time, it was a UFO. This thing's going through the sky, just bat out of hell.
Yeah.
And I remember I had there was an interview with I think it was American Airlines pilot. They were flying from New York to San Francisco, and somewhere over somewhere over Utah, they, unbeknownst to the Blackbird pilot, it was an A-12, the single place airplane. They flew within about a half a mile of this commercial airline, went right by them. And they saw it, and I think the first officer, tried to take a picture of it. And they landed in San Francisco. The airplane was pulled off to a holding area, which I thought was kind of unusual. It was like a quarantine area. And then the FBI came on the airplane.
Oh, because he reported it? Is that why they held him?
No.
Oh.
The chase plane for the A-12 reported it to the command post. They called up the feds and said, okay, you need to quarantine flight so-and-so going from New York to San Francisco. So they held him in the airplane for about 5 or 6 hours before anybody was let go. And about 6 months later, the same pilot is flying with a different first officer, and they see another A-12 because they fly that very similar route. And the guy said, "Oh man, I got to take a picture of that." And I said, "Oh God," I said, "I hope you didn't have any plans when we landed in San Francisco." So I have dinner with my wife.
No!
I said, "It's going to be canceled." I said, "Why is that?" I said, "We're going to be visited by the FBI." I said, "Why?" Says, because of what you just saw out the window. We weren't supposed to see it. So,
oh my God.
I just thought I'd ruin your weekend for you. Anyway, that's
You ruined it.
I can see you like eating peanuts, like, yeah, FBI's gonna be there.
yeah. So,
Sweet.
Oh my God.
All right, guys.
all right.
Y'all are
Thank
awesome.
you for having us.
Thank you guys so much. This was so much fun.
Yeah. Great time.
As usual, when I'm doing something like this, time just flies. I know the wife will be asleep, I think, when I leave my confines here. And some of you may have seen Scarlett. She always loves to come in and say hi to me. And she's, and usually if I'm on the computer after 5:30 at night, she'll come up to me and she'll paw the back of the chair. And if I don't respond, she starts barking. And she was so bad. I said, okay, I'll take the headset off and I'll put everything away. And I said, you want to go outside? And then she knows I'm going to follow her. So
she's so smart.
She's in charge.
She loves her pack.
That's
she really
amazing.
does.
She's
and
the leader.
Darcy's met her. He spent a couple of days here. Was it last year in the film, in the putting together of this TR3B?
We shot it in his office there.
Yeah,
that's a great scene, dude. I love that, dude. Your office is sick, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, we all need offices like that.
Yeah, I know, man.
Yeah, and I love the fact when he was shooting me, the backdrop was my bookcase.
Yeah,
and my Skunk Works book was always present over my shoulder.
Yeah, that's why you're in your third printing, man.
Yeah, probably. Hey,
yeah.
You know what? It's being on these the programs like this
for sure.
These are the people. These are my people. No, these are the people who have same or similar interests as I do. I love things that go bump in the night. I mean, when I did the first F-117 book, I didn't think anything of it. And it sold 67,000 copies. And
woo,
damn, that's a lot of cereal, boys.
Yeah. Well, I was at the time I was going through a divorce, and
she got some of that cereal, eh?
She got all of it.
Damn it.
I have not had very good luck with divorces. One of them was the Antichrist, and then there was
I love the descriptions of your exes, man. One was a Sasquatch, one was an Antichrist, and the other one was a psychopath, right?
All my wives have been 5'2" or shorter. All of them petite.
Smurfs.
Rosemary is an absolute sweetheart. I don't know how I was blessed to have her in my life, come into my life, but I found her online. I mean, I did.
That's how we do it these days.
Yeah, And yeah,
Unless we're going to Doobie's Brother concert.
That's right.
I was 62 years old, and I'd been, I'd been married for 10 years, before that, and 5 years before that, and 20 years before that. One of these days you get it right. And where does someone my age go to find a girlfriend and find a wife? I mean, I love to dance, and I'm a good dancer, rock and roll, funk, disco, swing.
Let's do that at the Golden Nugget then.
Bro, it's going down.
Yeah.
We got to find a discotheque for this man.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, hey, back in the 60s, when I lived in Hermosa, Manhattan, and Redondo Beach, and then Friday, USA.
I saw those photos, man. You had a whole entourage of ladies, right?
I always have. I had a girlfriend. I can't call her a girlfriend because her husband would call me up and say, "Will you please take my wife out dancing?"
Nice peaches.
So I would. Someone was abducted.
Oh, that's Jamie and Bree. They give their regards with Peach.
Okay. I'm a peachy guy then.
Those are nice butts.
Yeah. But her name was Judy, and we used to go dancing like 3 or 4 nights a week, and we entered dance contests, and we'd always come in first or second. And
I believe it.
And most of it was her. I mean, she can move parts of her body that you can't move. They're physically impossible. She was. You have to be my age to appreciate the actress, but she was a blonde version of Jennifer O'Neill. She was in Summer of 42.
Oh, okay. All right.
We might that might be past us, man.
Yeah.
But was it like Patrick Swayze type dancing you were doing, or?
Yeah. It would be like Saturday Night Fever.
Sweet.
I don't know if you guys know this, but in season 3, episode 4 of Soul Train, you actually see Jim dancing.
Get out of here.
That's her. Yeah.
Oh, that would be hilarious if it was true. There's Jen. Wow. Okay. So sweet. You had a nice dance partner.
Oh yeah.
She was a beauty.
I walked into a Bob's Big Way one night about 2:00 in the morning, and she had a bod to go with everything. And it was just everything about her just radiated wowzer.
Sex.
We walked into the Bob's Big Boy, and literally everybody, waitresses, men, women, kids, all of them went.
Kids got their first boners, right?
Oh yeah. So
all right, we better wrap this up. It's going into the rated R territory. Guys, thanks again for having us on.
Heck yeah,
You're the best.
Delight as usual, and
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that Jim?
Napoleon
That's
Dynamite.
Jim.
Yes,
That's Jim.
That was amazing.
Good
Did you have
stuff,
a fro
man.
like that? All right, guys. Good night. Thanks
Thank
again.
y'all so much.
You guys take care. I enjoyed
yeah.
every bit of it. I love you.
Yeah.
And
We'll catch y'all next time, man.
All right.
Y'all, bro. Love y'all.
Yeah, for
Take care,
sure, I'll
guys.
see you in
Godspeed.
Vegas.
Heck
All
yeah,
right.
man. We'll send y'all
Nice.
info on Vegas.
Yeah.
All right.
Later,
You
dude.
guys stay out of trouble.
We'll
Peace,
do,
dude.
man. Bye.
Deals.
Already, dude.
All right.
What a great dang time.
Yeah, man.
What a
It's
great
always
dang
good.
time.
It's always good.
So
Darcy's
much,
always got like such cool information.
Yeah, he's got
You
those
know?
jokes too. He's cracking me up.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Oh man. All right, dude. Well, shit.
That was a good
I
one, man.
ran out of wine. Everything's snowed in, so I can't get more. So I'm just drinking water now, man. So
Yeah,
I
dude.
guess it's on the smooth decline. And maybe that's a good thing.
I'm about to go get on some Black Sunday.
Oh, I don't. What is that? Is that a TV show?
Yes.
Oh,
No, just kidding. I'm actually on like season 8 of Seinfeld right now. I'm rewatching the whole thing. I love it.
dude. Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
that George Costanza really
I've heard-
cracks me up sometimes.
I heard of that show. I heard it was pretty good.
It's
pretty
freaking
good.
hilarious, man. So, all right.
Thank y'all, everybody in the chat, for the super chats that we're handing out to us. Thank y'all so much. Just a reminder that we are donating 20% of all super chats, donations, merch sales, everything. At the end of the quarter, we're going to donate 20% of everything we earn as a podcast, as a group, to organizations that go into research on UFO, UAP experiencers. Just to help out the community. I mean, we don't make much, but with your help, we can at least give a little bit to people that they're spending the time to learn more about and research this topic and help other people that are going through experiences if they've been through that. So
all together, man, we can move the needle. So let's do it.
Absolutely, man, absolutely, and we can have fun too.
Heck yeah, man. All right, dude. Well, this has been a pleasure.
This has been
an absolute pleasure.
A pleasure. Oh, I was gonna play the music, and I've just got it a video, so it's gonna be the video. So we'll just do the outro, and I'll play the video.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. This has been another episode of UFO Garage. Hey, man, we'll see y'all on Topless Tuesday.
Topless, baby.
Come hang out.
UFO Garage.